So the last few months have been pretty transformative for Thesis. We've recently just completed a merger with our neighbors to the south, Benchmark Metals. And we've got the next 6 to 10 months, I think, are going to be completely transformative as we evolve into one of the kind of leading precious metals projects in BC. I'm going to be making some forward-looking statements, so I'd encourage you to have a look at the website or the presentation. So for anybody that's not familiar with either of the projects, they are adjacent to one another here. The Ranch project was Thesis' project originally, and the Lawyers project was originally with Benchmark. But you can see they form this contiguous land package here, 325 square kilometers in north-central BC in the historic Toodoggone mining district. This area in general, northern BC, has seen about $5 billion worth of M&A transactions over the last 5 years alone. So fantastic jurisdiction, a lot of interest in this area. And I think by combining these two projects now, we've really created a project with significant scale and has the potential to be a really world-class asset. The other nice thing about this part of British Columbia is that we're a couple hundred kilometers inland from the coast out to the east of the Golden Triangle, which everybody's kind of familiar with. But the infrastructure here is fantastic. You can basically drive up to Prince George, a northern city in British Columbia, and then just continue on up that road past Mackenzie and up into the Toodoggone district here, past Centerra Gold's Kemess copper gold porphyry deposit and on to our land holdings here at the end of the road. And we've completed some infrastructure upgrades over the last couple of years. All of the road network here is kind of future-proofed for any mining scenario. All the bridges are rated to 70 tons. There's an airstrip just to the south of us that we use for moving in and out crews. And we have a power line tie-in just 45 kilometers south at the Kemess project. So very cost-effective, gives us the ability to work year-round. Additionally, given that we're a couple hundred kilometers inland from the coast, it's in the rain shadow of the coastal mountains. So we have rolling hills, very little snowfall compared to some of the projects on the coast. So that really works in our favor, again, gives us the ability to continue working 12 months of the year if we choose to. So to kind of quickly recap on both of the projects, the Lawyers project, we acquired that in 2018, and at that point, it had a pretty small resource, about 100,000 ounces, and we very aggressively drove that forward to what was a 3.5 million ounce resource last year. And on the back of that, released a PEA. And some of the highlights from that PEA you can see at the top here. But it's a gold-silver epithermal system. And this was just an open pit. So the PEA, 12-year life of mine with about 1.5 grams head grade gold equivalent. And after-tax NPV5 and IRR of 589 and 24% with a 2.8-year payback. And a capex of just under 500 million. So a really robust project as a standalone. And some of the rationale for the merger here is we've identified kind of two key areas where we can take this very good project and make it a world-class asset. And that can be kind of simply explained, I think, here by the production profile. So this was just for the open pit on the Lawyers project. Years 1 through 12 on the x-axis and production on the y-axis here. And you can see the first couple of years, a couple 100,000 ounces of production, pretty good, but years 3 through 9, it starts to drop off. And that's just with stripping and stripping and stripping to get down to what is better, higher grade ounces at depth. And you can see those come in through years 10 to 12. So really, the question was, how do we bring these much higher grade, better ounces forward in this production schedule? And really one of the ways is looking at the underground potential on the Lawyers project. And then the second aspect is the Ranch project. We have a lot of high grade ounces right at surface. So if we take a look at Lawyers first, this is the kind of three main open pits. On the right hand side is the AGB deposit, Cliff Creek being the larger one here in Duke's Ridge. And you can see the pit here, the 2022 pit shell pulled down But more importantly, you can see the block model, the resource, the mineralization. It extends for hundreds of meters below the pit, and none of that was captured in the PEA. And so this year, we've just wrapped up our drill program on the Lawyers project. We did about 25,000 meters of drilling, targeting and delineating, expanding that underground resource. And you can see some of the highlights here on the screen from results that have been released to date. Still a lot to come, but 53 meters at about 3.5 grams, including 16.5 meters at just under 10 grams. So, and at the point when that hole came out, it was the deepest hole drilled on the Duke's Ridge deposit. So not only is the mineralization really strong, it remains wide open. Now, thinking about underground, often people think, well, that's a lot of capex, it's going to cost us a lot of money. In this case, that is not how it's going to play out. I mean, we're very fortunate that topography really works in our favor here. You can see that the open pits here and the wireframes, but the deposits are basically on these big, kind of high alpine plateaus. But between the plateaus, you get big rolling valleys. And if you drop off the plateau, lose a couple of hundred meters of elevation, and we can drive a very simple decline in under the Duke's Ridge deposit, accessing Cliff Creek at the same time. That decline is about 1 kilometer in length, but would only cost $3 to $5 million to push in. So very cost effectively bringing in what we predict to be probably about 500,000 ounces in the range of 4 to 5 grams. So if you remember, I said the head grade on the open pit alone was about 1.5 grams. So this is at least 3 times the grade of what the open pit was. So this alone would be transformative for the project. But if we take a look at the Ranch project just to the north, so from the kind of core, sorry, let me go back 2 slides here. Between the deposits, I should have said, this is where this kind of centralized milling facility would be. And the concept here is to build the mill on the Lawyers project and then truck ore from the Ranch project, 24 kilometers downhill the whole way to that centralized mill at Lawyers. The Ranch project has a bit of background. We acquired this in 2020, and we've completed now about, over the last couple of years, 50,000 meters of drilling. We just wrapped up this season's drill program on the Ranch project as well. It's about 20,000 meters completed. A lot of drill results still to come out for this, but you can see some highlights here from the last couple of years. At the Bonanza Zone, for example, 34 meters at just under 20 grams gold, and that intercept started at just 12 meters downhole. So very high-grade mineralization right at surface. And there's a core area on the Ranch project from a number of different zones, so Bonanza Ridge and Thesis 3, Thesis 2, that I think will provide the bulk of feed for the first few years of the mining operation on the Lawyers project. This is pre-resource, so we don't have any numbers for this yet, but what I will say is it's going to be considerably higher grade than the open pits on the Lawyers project. So a combination of bringing in this high-grade ounces from the Ranch project, the high-grade underground ounces on the Lawyers project will be transformational for the economics around that PEA, and is very much so going to be a starting point. So how we're executing on this at the moment, let's say this is present day here. So we have the Lawyers, open pit, PEA, and the metrics associated with that. As we talked about, very robust project. How we make that better is we've just completed that drill program, like I said. So collectively between the two projects this year, we've drilled about 45,000 meters, and that was split between defining that underground resource and building out what will be a maiden resource estimate on the Ranch project. That, for the first time, we're going to bring together the two projects, create a global resource. That is anticipated being released early Q2 next year. At the same time, we're going to be simultaneously working on an updated PEA, which will be slated for probably early Q3 next year. So over the course of the next kind of 6 to 10 months, we've got a lot of drill results still to come out, a new resource for the first time across both projects, an updated PEA demonstrating the much improved grade across both projects. And as I said, I think this is very much going to be a starting point. all of the blue sky potential here is really coming from the ranch project. I mean, we're going to be able to demonstrate whatever this resource is, we're going to be able to say, hey, look, we've got this, but there's a very clear pathway to many more ounces ahead of us. All the zones on the ranch project remain open, and we've probably got about 20 different targets that share all of the same geochem and geophysical characteristics as the known zones of mineralization. So there is a ton of upside there to keep it expanding this, and I think ultimately the ounces on the ranch project will probably just eclipse what we have on the Lawyers project. So this is a real district scale play with the potential for many millions of ounces beyond what the kind of 3.5 million ounces that is currently defined at Lawyers. Skip over that in the interest of time. In terms of ESG, that's a pretty critical piece of the puzzle in Canada and British Columbia. We have 4 partner nations in this area. We have exploration agreements in place with all of the nations. We've been working hand in hand with them from day one. And the environmental and engineering wing of the nation, the 3 nations on the bottom of Seike-Ney collectively, so Saskatchewan and Chukchi Environmental and Engineering, they take care of all of our wildlife monitoring, environmental monitoring, baseline work, infrastructure upgrades, heavy equipment operation. So fantastic partners working with us from day one, and I think that relationship is only going to continue to grow as we continue to build and advance this project. In terms of quick corporate snapshot, got 174 million shares outstanding, and currently our market cap is 71 million. And that is, I mean, I think everybody probably says this at the moment, but I think we're very undervalued for the ounces that we have in the ground. And hopefully I've demonstrated to you that there's significant upside here, and with very real milestones, very achievable, that we're fully financed for, that are coming out in the next 6 to 10 months, that will be completely transformational for the project and the company. So a lot of upside here in the stock. And then really just to kind of quickly recap, transaction is behind us now. We've just completed the drill program on the project. Infrastructure in this area is all in place. The only thing remaining is the power line. Baseline work is completed on the Lawyers project. On the ranch project, it will be wrapped up by kind of Christmas time next year, and then we're looking at the EIA process. But in terms of more immediate milestones, as we talked about, updated resource, probably April next year, and then an updated PEA in August. So thank you very much, and if there's any questions, be happy to take those. I can't take a question for Nick because I work with Nick, so that doesn't make any sense. Yes.
How stable is Equinox as a shareholder? Have they any intentions to sell, or?
So it's Equinox Partners. So should have specified that, but they're actually our largest shareholder and fantastic shareholders, and have been very supportive.
I think we've got time for one more question. Do you have a question? No? Okay. Very good. Thank you, Ewan.
Great. Thank you.